Welcome to the Get Back, music work talk in Central Texas, Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. Unemployment assistance, we are musicians.
The information contained herein is not official for Austin Federation, only the personal opinions of the panelists. Do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff. Minimize their involvement with administration. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed private sector employment law attorney of your choice. All right, welcome to the Get Back for June 10th, 2022. I'm Aaron, and Mark and Russell are joining me today. Hello, fellas.
Hello.
Man. We always start with the links down at the bottom in the show description. That's the best way to get a hold of the union, to join the union, and also get in touch with resources for economic recovery from the COVID pandemic for musicians as well. So check those out. If you are watching the archived version of the show, the links to the articles we're going to talk about are also there, but if you're watching live, those won't be there yet, but they will be. We always start with beverages as well. I've got a giant tank of coffee, as usual. What are y'all drinking over there?
I'm on my second round of this one.
All right.
Got my iced green.
Oh, look at that. Is that in a measuring cup? Look at that.
Yeah, well, it's one of those pods that you stick in there, So.
Excellent, man. You got to make sure you keep the volume up on the hydration when it's hot like this.
Especially if you're working outside.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Right on. Well, geez, we've got a whole bunch of stuff on the docket today. All kinds of things in the news. We hadn't really had a chance to confer before the broadcast. So we could just dive right into it. There's an article in the paper about a film studio in the Austin metro area, but it sounds like it's going to be closer to San Marcos. But $267 million film and TV studio proposed for Austin metro area. But it says something about they're going to focus on virtual production. I don't know, but more chances to get our music onto those types of media. But of course, if it's not on a union contract to begin with, the musicians don't benefit as much. So we want to make sure we get our recordings on union contracts and all that. So you guys heard anything about this?
I actually saw that article.
Is it?
I wonder how soon Austin will annex San Marcos to get their hands on that.
Oh, well, that's another dimension of that. Yeah, maybe that'll speed up that process. I don't know. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, there's some environmental things with it. It's going to be on top of the Edwards Aquifer, but it's a part of that land that's already commercially zoned. So it's not a giant concern, but it could be a concern. I don't know. It depends on how much oil they're pumping out of that thing. I don't know. Sure. We'll see. But there's an article in the Statesman about Bastrop is having their first Pride festival tomorrow, so that's interesting. good to see, you know, all kinds of festivals, especially this time of year, and it could be additional work for musicians as well. So let's keep an eye on that. You know, Bastrop was also designated a music-friendly city, right, by the Texas Music Office last year. A lot of cities, of course, have gotten that. And what
They
exactly?
better
that
be
means.
careful. The Republican state government's going to come after them.
Yeah, look out, look out. Yeah, certainly something that seems to be happening all over the place. Yeah. So we shall see. There's a article about summer heat affecting mental health, and also an article about knowing the signs of heat stroke, which that could be pretty useful for our musicians that are working outside. You know, you play music in the sun, or even just in the heat, and you may not realize, you know, you may not notice the symptoms if you're playing, you know, if you're performing, and you may get done with your set and just go bonk and fall right over. So, and we
Well, even if you're inside, I mean, if it's hot, if the gig is hot, you know, some places don't turn their air conditioning up very high. You can suffer inside too.
Absolutely, especially when you have a bunch of people come inside and leave the doors open and bring a bunch of hot bodies inside. It's yeah, man.
You know what they say, by the time you're thirsty, it's too late.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, man. So the article talks about the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke. And heat exhaustion is I guess the better one. The heat stroke is the more severe condition, and it has the symptoms of heat stroke. Saying look for these troublesome symptoms of heat stroke. And we could probably just read this list. Dry skin that's hot or red. Heat stroke happens after sweating has stopped. Confusion or disorientation, slurred or slow speech, loss of consciousness, headache, dizziness, or nausea, temperature of 103 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, fast, strong pulse, or seizures. So that's a pretty extreme, you know, condition. You have something like that's happening. That means you have to go to the hospital, you know, that for heat stroke.
Quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. It says how to treat his heat stroke. There's a short list here. It says immediately call 911. Heat stroke is an emergency health situation. Do not leave the person alone until emergency workers arrive. Get the person to a cooler environment out of the sun. That could help. Use ice, cool cloths, or a cool bath to lower their temperature. Soak their clothing with cool water. Do not give them anything to drink. That's an interesting part of it. So you try to cool them externally. I didn't know that. Yeah. And of course, moving the person could be complicated if they already fell and you don't know if they've injured themselves from the fall. That can be complicated too. So, but just good things to know, you know. I mean, everybody's still looking for. At least I am. I'm still looking for outdoor work this time of year because of the virus and everything, right? I mean, everybody feels comfortable working outside. Although even it may not actually be comfortable outside as far as the temperature. So yeah. Anyway, we'll have that link in the show notes. More articles about how Austin is a victim of its own success, and you know, the home prices are rising far faster than local incomes. That's an old story for musicians. That's been happening for, you know, since the 80s, I think, for musicians. But now everybody else is having the same problem, so that's interesting. Yeah, man. Yeah, and another article about how rents are soaring. So some people are moving away, which that's been happening. With musicians have been sounding that alarm bell for the last 10 years. And
moving further and further out.
Yeah, man. You guys hear anything about those issues?
Yeah, there's apartment complexes not too far from me, and for one bedrooms over there, they want like $1,600
for a one bedroom.
One bedroom. That's outrageous.
Yeah, but the demand is there. You know, I bet they're filling them up pretty fast.
Because it's right there on the shuttle line, so you can get on there and go to school.
I saw a thing on the television news the other night about how the average rent prices in Georgetown are actually higher than in the city of Austin. which I thought was unbelievable. Like, wow, what? So, yeah,
Well, that may be because they're larger units that are being rented.
it could be, yeah. Yeah, the average size could be bigger. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that and they kind of caught on to the fact that we kind of funnel people out of Austin, so they're going further and further out.
Hmm.
City government's like, well, we have to capitalize on this too.
Well, maybe. Yeah, man. Goodness. Well, they're related to that. There's an article about how the Austin City Council is easing height restrictions on buildings to encourage more housing units, which I think they're particularly doing that downtown. So they're allowing higher and higher things to make more units, but I don't know if that's going to make things more affordable or not, but it's going to let them build more stuff, I guess. You guys hear anything about that?
I haven't heard anything about it, but it's just something very unsettling about living on the 70th floor or something.
Yeah.
Well, is that change specific to housing buildings, housing development, or is it general?
It's residential buildings. So yeah. And of course that makes me think of all the times they built a hotel next to a music venue downtown, and then they complained about the noise from the music venue, or something like that. That's happened with apartment complexes too, and condos and everything else. So who knows? Yeah. Yeah, man. There's also kind of a breakdown of different Juneteenth events for next weekend in the paper, and the Union Hall event is not included yet, but hopefully will be included as the week goes on. But there is a Juneteenth event at the Union Hall on Juneteenth itself on Sunday, June 19th. We don't usually promote music events on this show, but this one is at the Union Hall. It's funding through the union with the Music Performance Trust Fund, and the other unions in the building are helping out with it. The IBEW is sponsoring part of the advertising and marketing and stuff, and providing the space and all that, and it's all union acts that are performing. So it's going to be a cool event if you're around on Juneteenth, the day of Juneteenth. Of course, there's lots of Juneteenth celebrations the whole week, including on the Monday afterward, when the federal holiday is actually recognized. Right. And we're supposed to all have the day off. I don't know if everybody has the day off, but musicians usually have the day off on Monday, I guess. But but you know how it goes. Yeah. So yeah. But there's a lot of events. Of course, in East Austin at the Victory Grill and in Kenny Dormer's backyard and all those places. There's some. They mention some of the concerts at Antone's that are not officially Juneteenth events, but still are related. And they mentioned the Juneteenth parade in East Austin and the food truck fest at Houston-Tillotson University. And so it's all good stuff to know about and good stuff to check out. And all of it has music, which is cool. And yeah, man. But if you come to the Union Hall on Sunday, June 19th, you can hear union music.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's going to be good. That's should I list the acts? I guess I should list the acts.
Sure.
It's our sister Sonia Jaffet is opening, and then a group called Classic Hip Hop Live, featuring Bavu Blakes and Anastasia Hera are playing. After that, there's a lot of classic hip hop from the 80s and 90s, and that's going to be really popular. And then, of course, our brother, Dr. James Polk and James Polk Centerpiece are closing out the night at from 5 to 6. So it's a pretty early show, and yeah, it's going to be good. So yeah, right on. Yeah, you guys hear anything about that? Any of the other Juneteenth things happening next week?
Just the ones that you already mentioned.
Yeah.
I saw the forecast, and they're saying 107 that day.
Yeah. Well,
Little warm.
that brings up the other point is the union event is going to be inside in the air conditioning. So congratulations. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a feature for sure, man. Goodness. Well, related to the Pride Month thing, the cover. Oh, I was going to bring it in with me, but I forgot. The cover of the International Musician this month that just arrived at my house, I think yesterday. You guys might have got it sooner, but has actually a same-sex couple that are brass playing sisters from Houston. They're on the cover this month, and it talks about balancing musician career and family life. In that article about them, it's Teresa Hannabury and Nancy Gooderl of Local 65 699 in Houston. So some Texas musicians on the cover, and it's a really nice article about the two of them and their family, actually, and their kids and everything. So that's really cool. It's a nice thing to feature our union members, and yeah. So,
We're all inclusive.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. Yeah, and always have been. that's one thing to remember about unions is we always have been. Yeah, yeah, man. The other thing in the new article, there's actually a bunch of really good stuff we should probably talk about in the new issue, but it happened, I think, 2 weeks ago today. Our brother Pat Varioli from the Electronic Media Services Division of the AFM, I think, was hit by a bus in New York City and instantly killed, unfortunately. And that's a big loss for our union. That's the guy that helped us here in Local 433 with all kinds of different recordings issues and TV and videotape contracts and all kinds of things. He helped us get paid for the iHeart Country Festival and things like that, when iHeart was refusing to pay musicians for cable TV and streaming, and they were just going to pay for live performances and things like that. Pat really helped us with that and getting that taken care of, and getting the musicians paid properly in previous years. And so anyway. Yeah, I probably said too much already about that, but yeah, definitely a big terrible thing. Yeah, and it just shows you how quickly you can lose somebody, but also lose a ton of institutional knowledge. And that has happened to us locally here. In Local 433 in the last 20 years, we've had two secretary treasurers die in office and one president die shortly after he retired from office. And we lost a whole bunch of knowledge there, and not to mention the people. We lost the people too. But yeah, so something we've got to be careful of and make sure we're passing knowledge on to to more people. And yeah. But anyway, yeah, the local office sent flowers to the funeral and everything, as did probably every local office in the whole union, I would imagine. But yeah, but we miss you, Pat Varioli. So yeah, man. But what else we got to talk about this week, fellas?
Other than the heat, and now we're going to Saudi Arabia with our hat in our hand, begging for oil now.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
pretty freaking embarrassing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do you hear about that? How is that happening?
Well, because the current president was saying that their human rights record is just ridiculous, off the chart. We can't deal with them. Now we're willing to overlook that, deal with them, and it's just because of oil.
Right.
They got it. We want it.
Well, they're behaving themselves better than Russia is, I guess, is the idea, I suppose. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. That the human rights record there is pretty awful too.
Yeah, I mean, they killed that journalist there. Apparently, shipped him out in small pieces, so they never found him again.
Mm,
Those are the same guys that we're talking to.
mm,
The Crown Prince. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Bin Suleiman. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, that is a we hadn't mentioned that at all. But the gas prices are related to that. You know, although people have demonstrated that there are also record profits being earned by the oil industry too. So you have to mention that in the same breath, right? But that does affect us, our business, right? Are you guys
Oh, heck yeah.
are you guys driving on any tours, or are you flying coming up here? I'm doing a lot of driving myself, but
Flown anywhere.
Well, I'm on the bus, but the diesel prices are approximately twice what they were a couple of years ago.
yeah,
So it makes traveling on a bus used to be a pretty good deal for bands, and now it's a lot more expensive than it used to be.
yeah. Well, it's still less expensive than everybody driving separately, but yeah, it's expensive to fill that big bus up, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. $1,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, man. Yeah, no joke. Yeah, but at least you can travel together and save the car travel cost, I suppose. But yeah. Oh man. Yeah, people have been that's been something a lot of musicians have been asking about. Is like where can you even rent a bus right now? I mean, a lot of the inventory is out, and or has aged out, or whatever. Yeah, yeah. If you can even find one, then you got to fill it up with diesel. Yeah, yeah, man. So it is that's becoming a hardship on getting around for sure, man. Yeah, definitely. I want to pack light for all that. I know you pack light anyway, don't you, Mark? But
I try.
yeah, man. Yeah, so that is getting to be harsh. I think, what was it? Was it last weekend? I think gas prices in Austin got up to about $5, and then they've gone down over the week a little bit, but they might go up again on the weekend, and so yeah. Stay solvent out there, friends. Yeah. Man. What else is affecting musicians? Did you guys watch the hearing last night?
Most of it.
I figured you did. Yeah, it was tough to watch, but we're talking about the hearing on the January 6th insurrection, coup, riot, whatever you're calling it now, I suppose. But the word coup was used, or attempted coup, I think. So it was like, wow, all right. Yeah.
More than once.
Yeah, man. So
He's, we know who the he is. Just outright corruption. But for me, I sit there listening to those guys talk, and I always want to tap those cops on the shoulder and say, "Now you see how it feels."
Mm.
When you do that to us, now you see how it feels.
Mm. I suppose, yeah, man. Yeah, but it's something worth paying attention to. Obviously, I mean, our business is not going to be operable in a non-democratic society very
Sure.
well,
And that's not a popular opinion to have, but being minority and being ex-military, I know how this stuff works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thing is, if you look at it with a legal eye, which, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but the people who have decided that Trump was innocent of any of this insurrection talk, I'm not sure that they would be moved by what they saw on the broadcast last night. I mean,
I think you're absolutely right.
there's not, the link between Trump and the Proud Boys or the other far-right groups. I mean, you can establish a link, but to actually determine that Trump was at fault for the Capitol riot, I haven't seen anything yet that I think would convince somebody who was very skeptical about that.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's only the people that are sort of on the fence that might tip the other way, right? That the people who are firmly on the other side of the fence on that are not going to jump over the fence.
Doesn't seem that way to me. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say it was more conclusive, but I didn't. Not what I saw last night, anyway. Maybe they've got something else coming down the pipe. But.
There are other hearings. I think there's 3 other ones coming up in the next week, but they're all at like 10 a.m. But then there's another one in prime time on the 23rd. I saw the schedule posted the other night, and those are only going to be on like the news channels.
Yeah.
And the one last night wasn't even on Fox, right? It wasn't on Fox or Fox News. I think they played it on Fox Business or something. So, so the whole Fox News viewers are not going to be cognizant of that at all. Probably, unfortunately. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. I don't think they can. I don't think they're trying to establish like a criminal wrongdoing thing anymore to President Trump. I think they're just trying to establish that what happened was wrong. I think is what, I think that's what they're trying to do. But
but no, I mean, I think they're actually trying to swing the DOJ, the Department of Justice, to actually file charges. Whether those charges include Trump or not, I don't know. But I mean, that seems to be the reason for having all these hearings broadcast, right? Is they're trying to sell the stuff to the Department of Justice. That's what I would think. Because the hearings don't have any legal clout. I mean, they can't really do anything to anybody. All they can do is try to convince people in power that something wrong was done.
Well, no, I mean it's a congressional hearing, so it could, I think it also is for the Congress to take that information and decide, hopefully, to do something about it as well, right? There could be some.
Well, but it's really the Department of Justice that would be doing
that. Well,
indictments and
they would do the charging.
Yeah,
but maybe there's legislation that can prevent this in the future or something. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
We'll know it in November. You know what you saw, you know what you heard. So when you walk in that booth, we'll know what you thought. If the same people come back.
Yeah. But it was interesting, interesting to watch for sure. Yeah. So, but I mean, like I said, I mean, it's going to affect our business. Democracy is not upheld in the United States. It's going to make all business more difficult to do. But the interesting thing is that in our union, being proactive in our union, we're actually practicing democracy at a small level, at our local union level, and then at a big level with the national union, the international union, and that helps us to kind of understand these things a bit better than the average person, because we're participating in this small democracy, and we can see the cracks in the big democracy and hopefully try to fix them, and as we bring back the labor movement, with capital letters, hopefully more and more people can take advantage of that, can practice democracy at the labor movement level, and then also at the political level. We're seeing, we haven't really talked about that this week, but the first Starbucks in Texas organized over by Texas. They won their election, right? So, yeah. Haven't heard about any Amazon places in Texas. There was an article about Trader Joe's. Y'all see that? So the Trader Joe's are starting, not here in Austin, but somewhere.
I did kind of hear something about it, but I didn't see any print.
Yeah, something about a Trader Joe's organizing somewhere. I don't think it was in Texas though, but but it's all over the place, and yeah, it's for everybody, and yeah.
And the place that I did see print was Buc-ee's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They are trying to unionize.
All right. Yeah. Or some of them are somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are.
Yeah.
Chain.
I mean, if the coffee shop workers can do it, who can't do it? Really. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a cool thing, man. That's a cool example that we're getting from our barista brothers and sisters and siblings. So yeah, man. All right. Well, anything else we should address before we sign off, fellas? Yeah. All right.
Rent relief fund is still not there yet, but it's on the site, so you can still apply.
You can still get on the list to find out when it does. Yeah, that's important. Thanks for keeping an eye on that. Yep. Right on, man. All right. I'm not going to be able to be here next week, but in 2 weeks we'll be back with the Get Back. And if you're in the union, or if you're in the music business rather, don't give up. We're going to get through this. We are getting through this. We're all getting back to work. But you can do your business better than you did before, and now's the perfect opportunity to join the union, use union contracts, use all the union benefits and solidarity to bring this thing back better. And we'll see you next week on the Get Back. Take care. See you, fellas.
Thank you.